Have you ever seen a pitcher plant in real life? If you haven't, then you've probably seen it in the cards. Today I'm going to be talking about the super cool looking Victreebel. Honestly, one of my favorite Pokemon. I think the design is really sweet. Comes straight from the pitcher plant, and it is one of those really creative designs that you don't see a lot. It's not humanoid. It's based off of a plant, and it really sticks true to what it does best. And for people who haven't really seen Victory Bell, I'll just give like a pretty basic overview of it. It's a pitcher plant, so it looks almost kind of like a pear, except for at the top of the pear, you have the Victory Bell's mouth. It has like a pink ring around it, kind of like its lips, and there are two teeth coming out of the lips. And you can't see inside of the Victory Bell, it is pitch black. There are eyeballs coming out from underneath the lips, right underneath the teeth, and then on either side of the like the body of the pitcher plant, you have these large green leaves, and then at the top you have a leaf covering the hole of the Victory Bell's like mouth, and then coming out of that leaf is this vine, this like brown vine, and at the end of the brown vine is this like teardrop, like large teardrop shaped piece of the Victory Bell, which is yellow, which is the same color as Victory Bell's body. And Victory Bell has these kind of like spots on it too. It's like just a darker yellow, and on some of these cards it's like a green. So I guess it's up to the artist's interpretation. And that's pretty much it. Victory Bell is a grass type Pokemon, which is, pretty common for a Pokemon based off of a plant. So I'll just get right into the cards for you. The first card I have is from 1998. This Victory Bell says, evolves from Weeping Bell, put Victory Bell on the Stage 1 card. It shows the little Weeping Bell in the top left, and it says Stage 2. And then it says Victory Bell, and this Pokemon has 80 HP and is a grass type. It is called the Flycatcher Pokemon. Its length is 5 feet 7 inches, so this is a pretty tall boy, and he weighs 34 pounds. This Victory Bell has 2 attacks. Lure, for 1 grass energy, it says, if your opponent has any benched Pokemon, choose one of them and switch it with his or her active Pokemon. And it has the Acid attack for 2 grass energy. It says, flip a coin of heads, the defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. And I don't think the attacks are like too bad. Acid does 20 damage as well. Lure is really nice because you don't have to flip a coin to get like a boss or a Lysander, that like support card effect. It's like your basic gust effect, so you can just bring up whatever you want, which is really nice. And Acid is, it's kind of crappy damage for 2 grass energy on a stage 2, but you also have the effect of making it so your opponent can't retreat. So you can kind of lock stuff in the active. It's not amazing, but yeah. It has the weakness to fire, no resistance, and 2 retreat cost. The flavor text said to live in huge colonies deep in jungles, although no one has ever returned from there. Level 42, number 71. And interesting, no one has returned from there. I probably believe it. The Pokemon jungles are they're probably worse or about the same danger as like an Amazon jungle or just a jungle in South America. I'm not sure. I haven't done any research. That's just off the top of my head. But I would be terrified to encounter a lot of jungle Pokemon. They're probably just out there to survive. And Victreebel, he's 5 feet 7 inches. He'll probably just swallow you right up. Yeah, the artist who did this card is the good old Ken Sugimori. So the Victory Bell has a watercolor look to it, and there's like nice highlights on the leaf on top of Victor Bell's head, and on the leaves on the Victor Bell sides. And one of the interesting things with like these super old cards, this one I think is from the Jungle set, is that the backgrounds are, I mean, it looks like they went out and took a picture and then just blurred the crap out of it. I don't know if this was deliberately like drawn this way, but Victory Bell is just in the middle of the card. It's just kind of chilling there. It's very basic. And then the background kind of has nothing to do, or like, it doesn't involve Victory Bell at all. It's just there to be like a backdrop for it. And this background, you can kind of tell that it is just a bunch of trees on the ground. It's very green, and there is no detail in it. All of the pixels, or I mean whatever was done originally has been like blurred out into these dots. So you have it could be like it looks kind of like melty almost, very not defined. But it serves its purpose as being there and showing that Victor Bell lives in the jungle or is just a grass Pokemon. And the card is pretty cool. I mean, if you like vintage stuff, this is definitely one for you. The next Victory Bell card I have is from 2002. This is an e-reader card, so it has the huge yellow borders on it, and then a bunch of really blurry, like, not like black text, but like a kind of just a blurry barcode at the bottom. So this Victory Bell says Stage 2, evolves from Weepinbell, put Victory Bell on the Stage 1 card. And it's just so interesting that the older cards have so much text just to explain that it evolves from Weepinbell and is a Stage 2. This Victory Bell has 90 HP, so we're going up. It has a Pokepower called Fragrance Trap. It says once during your turn, before you attack, you may flip a coin. If heads, choose one of your opponent's bench Pokemon and switch to the defending Pokemon with it. This power can't be used if Victory Bell is affected by a special condition. Then it has the attack Corrosive Acid. It says flip a coin. If heads, the defending Pokemon is now burned. That's for 2 grass and a colorless and does 40 damage. And Fragrance Trap looks like it takes a lot of inspiration from the previous Victory Bell's Lure, so you have that same effect, but this is a Pokepower, so you can do it whenever you want during your turn and still attack, but at the downfall of having to flip a coin. So now you don't have that, the surefire, oh, I'm going to be switching my opponent's Pokemon. Corrosive Acid is a little bit better than the acid attack. You're getting more of a bang for your buck. 3 energy for 40 is a little bit better, and you can possibly hit a burn, so that's plus 20 damage. So you might be doing 60 for 3. I guess you're just two-shotting stuff, but it's a little bit better. Nothing crazy. It has a weakness to fire, no resistance, and 2 retreat cost. Unfortunately, I don't think any of the e-readers had any flavor text on them, so there's nothing here. But the illustrator for this card is Miki Tanaka, and I like this artist. They have a very simple art style. There's not a lot of like detail or depth going into this card, but Victory Bell is a little bit more goofy looking, and I definitely enjoy that kind of style. It just shows Victory Bell chilling on like this dirt ground with both of its leaves, one on the left side of its body is just hanging over, the one on the right is coming up towards its mouth, and there's like this pink toxic gas, or knowing what these plants do, it's probably more of like a sweet gas in order to lure, or I guess it's like a sweet fragrance, just like that Pokepower. So you have this sweet fragrance coming out of its mouth, and it's traveling across the card in both directions. And then in the background, like the far background, it's literally just a green color. That's about it. And behind Victor Bell, you have these 4 trees, and they're almost melting. There's no like leaves on them except for the first tree on Victor Bell's left. All of the other ones are, all the leaves on them are super droopy. It looks like they're all made out of like a wax, and they're in the process of slowly melting. And maybe that could be due to the effect of like the fragrance. Maybe like the person who's smelling this fragrance is, kind of tripping out, and these trees are looking really weird. Um, but other than that, they're just interesting. And then in between each of these trees is just a like a fern-like bush. And the way that the artist went about like drawing this Pokemon, there's not a lot of there is some shadow, but nothing too drastic. It's a very simple, very like sharp lines. I would say that one defining characteristic for this art is that there's no line art, so you don't see any dark lines in between the Pokemon and the background or the trees in the background. So everything either blends in together, like the leaves on Victor Bell's sides, they blend in with the background really well, but the body of Victor Bell stands out a lot more because of like the color difference between it and the ground and the background. And all in all, it's a pretty cool looking card. Because of how the e-readers look, it honestly looks like it should be older than the previous Victory Bell card, just because of how much is just going on with this. They put a lot of like weird yellow lines just kind of anywhere with the e-readers. One thing that you can see is the Pokepower fragrance trap has a yellow curve on the right of the Pokepower sign, or on the left of the Pokepower sign, and then all the way towards the right, even after the fragrance trap text, you have just another yellow curve, and it's just kind of sitting there. It's really awkward, really stands out. But this card's pretty cool. If you're a fan of e-readers, I'd pick it up. The next Victory Bell card I have is from 2014. I unfortunately don't have anything in between in my collection, and I was a little disappointed. I'll probably be looking around at some like card shops just to see if anyone has anything like that. If you do, hit me up. I might want to do a trade. So this Victory Bell's from 2014. It has 130 HP, so we're definitely jumping up there. It has an ability called Wafting Scent. It says, once during your turn, before you attack, you may discard a grass energy attached to this Pokemon. If you do, your opponent's active Pokemon is now confused and poisoned. It has the attack Spiral Drain for a grass and 2 colorless energy, does 60 damage, and it says heal 30 damage from this Pokemon. With the Wafting Scent ability, sounds pretty cool. You have a instant confusion and poison. Unfortunately, you do have to discard like a grass energy from it, but if you have some sort of like energy acceleration through like the Cherim from Battle Styles comes to mind. Rillaboom, I think that was from like Rebel Clash, also can accelerate energy, so you have ways of getting that on Victor Bell, so you can use Wafting Scent. And it doesn't even have to be in the active spot as your attacker. This can just be on the bench, just chilling, and you can just get that confusion plus poison. Spiral Drain for 60 damage is pretty basic. You can attach a double colorless energy and 1 grass, so it's a little bit cheaper than like the attack cost being 2 grass on a colorless, which is nice. And then healing 30 damage is just another added bonus. Don't know if it would help you get away from being 2-shot so that you would be 3-shot, but if you could like boost some HP or maybe add on some more healing, you could definitely get there. It has a weakness of fire for ×2, no resistance, and 2 retreat cost. The flavor text on this one says, said to live in huge colonies deep in jungles, although no one has ever returned from there. Dang, man. This is going to be... Oh my gosh, I just read the flavor text on the next card and you won't even believe what it is. It's literally the same thing. Oh, dude, I'm about to send an email or something. This is going to be probably the biggest theme with this podcast is me just rereading flavor text and just being super disappointed about it. And now that I think about that, no, I was going to say that there's like this game you can play where someone reads a flavor text and you have to like guess what the Pokemon card is. I was going to say that would be a little harder for this Victory Bell since 3 cards all share the same flavor text. But if you're just guessing the Pokemon and not the specific card, then I guess it doesn't really matter. But dang, definitely disappointed about that. The art on this card is from Sanosuke Sakuma, and it's pretty cool. It gives Victor Bell just a little bit more character, and the Victor Bell in this picture is actually sitting in what looks like to be a nest of some sorts. That's kind of like the best description for it. The picture shows Victor Bell. It's just sitting in this nest. It's kind of like glaring straight at you, so you definitely get more of a sense of like you're in the picture with this Victor Bell. And just like the previous card, coming out of Victor Bell's mouth is this big waft of, or big fragrance, this pink fragrance coming out of it. But this fragrance travels a lot more throughout the card. Unlike the previous one where it just goes to the right and to the left, this one goes up and around and around and around this Victory Bell. Not in any sort of like pattern. It almost looks like a winding river. But it just goes to show how like potent or slow or how long this fragrance would stay in the general vicinity of the Victory Bell. And the background for this card, let's see, pretty basic. It looks like it's in some sort of like bushy forest area. You can see trees scattered about in the background. There's like there's like probably 8 trees. They get shorter or they get smaller the further the background goes. And then there are just some bushes around this nest that the Victory Bell is sitting in. And it's pretty basic. This card is a reverse holo from I want to say X and Y. It has a boxing glove in the bottom right. Maybe Furious Fists. I don't know. I'm still learning sets. But the reverse holo on this is really cool because it takes the grass like icon or grass symbol, and it's almost like someone just went to town stamping it all over the card. And it's pretty sweet. I like it. It's definitely a good reverse holo. The next Victory Bell card I have is from 2017, so Sun and Moon set. This one has 140 HP, so we're slowly getting up there. Has 2 attacks. The first one is called Pollen Hazard. For 1 grass energy, it says your opponent's active Pokemon is now burned, confused, and poisoned. Does 20 damage too. The second attack is called Stick and Absorb. For a grass and 2 colorless energy, does 80 damage, and it says heal 20 damage from this Pokemon. The defending Pokemon can't retreat during your opponent's next turn. That's pretty cool. The Stick and Absorb kind of combines a little bit of the previous Victor Bell's attacks, so kind of like the spiral drain, so it heals a little bit, plus the whole acid vibe from the first Victor Bell where your opponent can't retreat. And one of the nice things about this card is there's no like coin flip. So with Pollen Hazard, you're putting down that burn, the confusion, and the poison. And with Stick and Absorb, the defending Pokemon is just not retreating. So all in all, I'd say this is a pretty good card. Pollen Hazard is really nasty, especially if you could maybe build a deck around those special conditions. You can combo it really easily with like Radiant Hisuian Sneasler or Verbank City Gym for plus poison damage. I know there's an Infernape that I think makes it so you put 60 damage instead of 20 on burned Pokemon that you could do too. So there's definitely ways of boosting that damage up. And Stick and Absorb is just kind of a nasty attack. 80 damage is pretty nice. You can do it with a Grass and a double colorless energies, so relatively cheap for pretty good outcome. This Victory Bell has a weakness to fire of ×2, no resistance, and then 2 retreat cost. Has the same flavor text, so we'll just skip over that. And the illustrator is Tokia. And this Victory Bell is kind of cool. It's giving me like an updated vibe from the very first Victory Bell that we saw. So you, in a similar way, the Victory Bell is kind of not interacting with the environment around it. So it's almost like the artist made the Victory Bell and then just slapped together like a basic jungle picture behind and has that behind. The style that this artist has, it has very thick to thin line art. So, for example, like the eyeballs on the Victory Bell, the right eyeball has, it looks like he's wearing some like pretty thick eyeliner, while the left eyeball is just like super thin. And this kind of is all around the card. The leaf on top of the Victory Bell's head has very thin lines, while the body is super thick. And the colors that are used on this card are different from the other Victory Bell cards. With the other ones, the body of the Victory Bell goes, it's either like a yellow or a lime green to a yellowish green, while this card is definitely playing more towards, I would say like more of a grayed out or like a pastel green, and I think that's due to the jungle in the background being very blue. It's having the jungle in the background has like, it looks like a waterfall behind it, so there's some blue in that, and then there are also these very dark greens. There's not a lot of light, is what it seems, and I think the artist wanted to have that also on this Victory Bell. So the leaves on the arms and on top of the Victory Bell's head are like a bluish green, like a pastel bluish green, instead of that basic green that the other cards have. So it does look a little bit different. The style is totally different from the other ones, but it has its own like sort of life to it. Kind of reminds me of the squash and like Plants vs. Zombies, with how the eyes are and how the body of the Victory Bell is also made. There's like a very sharp turn from the head of the Victory Bell to the body, and also with the leaf on top of its head, there's also very sharp cuts to the where like a leaf tapers out on the bottom or towards the beginning of it. And that's probably just the style of this artist. I'm curious how other cards look with their style, because of how different this Victory Bell is compared to the others. all in all, it's nice. Could be a little competitive based on what kind of like format you're running it in or what decks you're going up against. And it's pretty sweet. And those are the 4 Victory Bell cards I've gone over. If there's any card or Pokemon you'd like for me to check out, hit me up, put it in the comments below. I read them all the time. So thanks for listening. Peace.